Okay, so we've talked about communication. We've talked about all the platforms for communication. We've talked about your messaging and about creating a safe environment for patients and providers. Now it's time to get strategic. So, pillar number 3, marketing has been turned on its head. It isn't the same thing it used to be um, before the coronavirus, which is really interesting because some people are trying to do the same thing and it isn't quite working. And I'll tell you why. It isn't working because you can't just say, okay, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to buy a lot of mass media and I'm going to blanket the market with all the services that I'm providing. The reason that isn't working the same way it used to is because you need to be meeting people where they're at. And where they are at today isn't where they used to be before COVID-19. So that means that you need to think about how to be strategic gracefully. So creating community goodwill is pillar number 3. I really think this is so important. This is what's going to set apart your practice, your organization from what a lot of other people are doing. So it's really kind of exciting to look at it in terms of how are you going to be a good steward of your community. How you do that can vary, but there are a few things that you should always be thinking about. You should be thinking about what actually would the community like to know that I'm doing. Sit down, think about it. Don't just talk to them about what you're interested in. Talk to them about what they're interested in. So, what do they really need? Do they need curbside service? Okay, talk to them about it. Do they need e-commerce? Do they need a way to exercise virtually? Talk to them about it. Those are the kinds of things that you need to do. So, you have to get kind of thinky on it. You have to really look at your analytics and say, okay, we have these 5 services that we're delivering right now, and we're going to package them in these ways because that's what people need. And if you're actually delivering a product that people or service that people need, then it's so much easier to actually keep that volume up, to keep that revenue stream happening. Creating community goodwill actually means doing a little bit of non-traditional public relations as well. So know your media, know when you can pull them in. Do you have a physician that was out there in the front lines? Maybe he was in the reserves, got pulled in, and now has come back. Did you create like a nice hero parade for him? Possibly. That's being strategic, creating a brand for yourself, but at the same time having good community or good community goodwill. One of the examples I really like is a throwback to many moons ago, really, is Tylenol. So everybody knows what Tylenol is, but does everybody know where Tylenol was? So Tylenol, while an important brand name in the painkiller market and in the farm world, didn't have the same brand recognition it does today until they actually had something really horrible happen. So they had a tampering, and actually there were a number of people affected by their bottles that were tampered with. And there are going to be a number of you listening or viewing this that remember what I'm talking about, but I'm old enough now to actually remember things that some of you won't. So Tylenol unilaterally listened to their community. They said, what are you thinking? What do you need? What do you need from us? And responded. They wiped clean every shelf, and then they showed pictures of themselves wiping clean every shelf of every bottle. Didn't matter. They could have easily said it's only affecting gel caps or it's only affecting this caplet. They didn't. They just wiped it clean, pulled the whole inventory, and then talked about it every single day. Used all of their marketing dollars to tell people what was happening. And what that did was actually reduce the number of people affected, But to be honest, it created brand trust and community goodwill. So here we are. You have to look at COVID as an opportunity. Here we are in an opportunity for you to do the same.